Welcome back, I'm Tedward, and today, thanks to Boston Motorsports in Brighton, Massachusetts, we're driving the Land Rover Range Rover Sport SVR. It's got a 5-liter supercharged V8 from the Jaguar F-Type. It's got 575 horsepower, and it'll do 0 to 60 in under 4.5 seconds. It's an absolute menace to society, and it's completely unnecessary. And that's what we like the best on this channel, is unnecessary vehicles. So, what's the deal? I drove the Sport the other day, and I absolutely loved it. I felt like the comfort level on the Sport was just unparalleled. Really great luxury car with a nice grunt from that 5-liter V8. And then this just gets tuned up a notch. So, we get a bit more power, 575 versus 518. And from what the Range Rover SVR people say, it's lighter. They've given it a carbon fiber hood. They've given it lightweight seats, and they've controlled the squat and dive under acceleration and braking. But almost more importantly than all of those improvements, it looks pretty badass. This hood is really aggressive, and actually it's given me like Jeep vibes, Grand Cherokee Trackhawk. But let's take a look around back, because this is an incredibly practical vehicle, even though it's completely unnecessary to drive. You've got fold down rear seats. You've got normal Land Rover, Range Rover things that you can do in your normal life. The back seats, gorgeously appointed in this black and red leather. And then I really dig the way they did the headrest, because it's very sporty and tons of room with a really nice panoramic moonroof. I dig that. Always good to have light in the cabin. And then the seats in the front, these are the lightweight seats, which it always just seems silly when you're trying to save weight in a vehicle that's clearly, it just doesn't matter at that point, but it's fine. I appreciate the effort. But these seats look really cool from front and from behind. And because they're kind of thin, I think it probably gives you a little bit of extra legroom in the back. So maybe that's a bonus that I didn't expect to see. Nice armrest and some cup holders. I don't recommend putting cups in this car unless they are sealed very nicely, because your driver is probably a lunatic. Up front, that's where these seats start to really take shape. These are really comfortable. They're fantastic. What they don't have, though, like most Land Rovers, is they don't have that armrest on that side. So if that's something you have to have, you're not getting it in your SVR with the lightweight seats. But let me show you under the hood, because although this looks very familiar to the Range Rover Sport, one thing that isn't familiar is this carbon hood. I mean, this is actually kind of cool. That is a trick feature that I was not expecting to find on this thing. So I do find it kind of fun that pieces of the car are designed to be lightweight despite being a giant SUV. But today is all about the driving experience. So let's jump in and see how it compares. Do you need to spend the extra money over the Sport for the SVR? Not the most aggressive startup, but we haven't turned it into a monster just yet. Down here we can turn on our sports exhaust. Definitely aggressive, definitely mean. That is an angry sound. This transmission reacts so quickly. It's an 8-speed torque converter automatic, and it really boogies. It really gets you into the appropriate gear when you need to be there. It's hysterically maddening. This thing is unbelievably unnecessary, and maybe that's my favorite part about it. That's bananas. Absolutely bonkers what this thing does. Feel it ripping those front wheels away from me. It puts a lot of power. It's incredible how it's torque vectoring from the front and the rear. You feel it all happening at once. What's funny is that they put these like almost like eco bars on the bottom of the screen, so it's showing me my throttle, my speed, and my braking, and it's giving me all green right now. But if I dip into the throttle, it starts to turn red. Like, you know, I feel like shit or get off the pot when it comes to eco-friendliness and what the purpose of a vehicle is. There's nothing eco-friendly about this. This power plant has nothing to do with fuel economy. I mean, I am just burning fuel. I am pumping so much air through this engine. It does not matter. Amazing. You can kind of put the power in, it starts to understeer a little bit and it'll catch itself. It kind of finds all of the traction. It's really good at that. Nice clear spot here. Really, you just push the loud pedal and it just pulls and pulls and pulls. Think about that. This is a big car. It sounds really good. This is a lot of fun. Oh, the little just burps and cracks out of that exhaust are bonkers. I can feel it in my seat when it does that. Those cracks are nuts. Throttle's pretty sensitive in this mode. Now, I'm not doing any of the shifting. I'm letting it choose things. It's doing a pretty good job of finding traction in variable surfaces. Oh, that sounds so good when it's low down. Because what we're dealing with right now is fairly cold temperatures. It's 40 degrees Fahrenheit. We've got a little bit of water, a bunch of salt, and probably tires that aren't exactly matched up to these conditions. So, you're going to push a little bit on the entry, and that's fine, but I'm just impressed with how predictable the thing is. You can kind of manage it really well. Before we go and make more noise, I do want to just see how it handles comfort-wise, because it is a Range Rover. It's a Range Rover Sport nonetheless, and it should feel comfortable on the highway. And that's what I really liked about the other Sport. The SVR, I don't know, might be my imagination. It does feel a little harder edged than the standard Sport when it comes to just standard ride quality driving along. It's still superb, sublime, excellent. But I do think that the Range Rover Sport has a slightly softer edge to it, and it's not unbelievably noticeable, but I do believe if you're looking for that ride comfort and you don't absolutely need the lunacy of this thing, you'd be just fine getting the Range Rover Sport. That is still plenty of crazy in a package. This is just for the absolutely psychotic lunatic that needs to breathe fire all the time, which, I respect. I'm that guy. That's just crazy. The confidence with which you can shove this into a corner under throttle. Who makes this? They're lunatics. Oh man, I gotta meet these people. There's a whole breed of human being that I didn't think I knew about. This is crazy. This is so bizarre. It's overkill. I'm gonna straight up say it. It's overkill. And the other thing is that I don't know that under normal sort of day-to-day driving experiences, you're gonna notice that much of a difference between the standard Sport and the SVR. This one's a lot barkier, it's got a little more speed, and it's a little sharper. But if you really just need the badge and the clout of like, ooh, I've got these carbon things, and you find that fun, go for it. Do the thing. This is really cool. But don't feel like you're missing out if you only have the Range Rover Sport with the 5-liter supercharged V8. I just think whoever's tuning these things is doing a phenomenal job. The transmission tuning is just so dead on. It really is like, it's not PDK, right? I mean, we're still dealing with like an 8-speed torque converter. But for what I'm driving, I am genuinely impressed with the gears that it's selecting and the speed at which it can change them. Look, I'll dip into the throttle a little bit. I mean, that is pretty lightning quick. Bringing my antisocial friend into town. Nobody look. I am totally normal. No crazy people. What's great about these Range Rovers, though, is just how responsive they are and how easy they are to jump in and drive. Because you're up really tall, you know, it can be intimidating to get into like a large vehicle and feel like you've got control, feel like you can place it where you really want it to be. And, you know, you can really chuck this around and put it where you'd like. It's a little late in the season for the Christmas tree, man. And I find that to be just fascinating. Like, I want to know who the engineers are that are making this happen, because it's like why are they doing this? But they're selling them, so I guess it's for the money. It's for the money. It's funny because when I get into an SVR like this, I start to be like, man, I need to drive a Project 8. I really need to drive some crazy Jaguar products, because if this is what they can do with this thing, I need to know what they can do with a sedan. Oh my, look at this juicy open stretch of SVR acceleration. Just fantastic. Early on the brakes. It's a little slippery out. Pushes a little bit, as expected. Brakes, a little soft. I want a little more bite out of that. It's not scary. It's not that, ooh, no, I wish I had more. But, I mean, for the SVR, I just wish it was like a little more of a meaty pad. Something that gave me a little bit of a scare when I jumped into it, you know? But it gets the job done. This thing is a monster. It's less different than the regular 5 5-liter supercharged sport than I thought it would be. But the bits that are different, the way this thing can handle and attack a corner, it's unbelievable. And I'm in love with these seats. I'm in love with the style. I'm in love with the theater. I get it. It makes no sense. It's antisocial. It's silly. But in a world where we're losing character in a lot of our vehicles, I appreciate when they go over the top. So thank you so much to Boston Motorsports for the opportunity to drive this just monster SVR. Thank you guys for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing, especially liking, because if you like the videos, you hit that like button. It tells YouTube to show it to more people, which helps me continue to create content. So do the thing. Don't forget to respect the drive, and I'll see ya in the next one. They'll say, is it a cucumber in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me? And you'll say, that's the key to my SVR.